Morning guys, Automotive Inquiries here. Today got a little treat for you. So the 7.3 Godzilla video brought out a ton of interest, created a lot of conversation, which that's what my channel is all about. And I had a lot of the GM owners come out and want to talk about the 6.6, and I had people ask about the 6.6. So came out and took this one for a drive. Now, of course, they went with me, so I couldn't videotape while I was driving. But I got to say that this truck is a custom level, so it has the really cool. I love this wheel. I love it. I love the overall general height of this pickup. I love the look of the Chevy and everything like that. People say, well, they don't have the telescoping mirrors that automatically telescope. These are manual. So you don't have the power scope like Ford has, but what I can tell you is these mirrors are so big. When I had my L5P 21 custom, I didn't ever even flip them out. There's so much surface area on these mirrors. I mean, they're a little bit to get used to on how they're mounted and how they look overall, but I mean, all in all, the surface area of the mirror is fantastic. They do have spotter lights on there and everything like that. They are the ones that have the steps in the side. Love that. Love the tailgate steps, which the 23 Ford's coming out of that. The multi-flex tailgate, honestly, I could care less about. That doesn't have a lot of features for me. I do like the step aspect of it, but it's kind of a pain in the rump to fold up. I do love how most of the GMs are coming with the bed holes already stamped in there, and then they do have more area inside the box. So technically, they do have a lot of area in there to put more stuff. Do like the power ports and the LED lighting in there. The handle right there is for the tailgate step if you want to use it. So instead of being in the tailgate like the Ford, it's kind of in there, kind of sticking there. That's neither here nor there for me. If it had the tailgate, that's fine, whatever. I probably wouldn't use it for the most part. But this truck comes with one rear end, period. So with the Ford, you can choose a la carte your rear end. At the end of the day, this one comes with a 373 and a leaf pack with standard 5 in it, which is really nice for a 25, because my F250 only has a three-piece leaf pack in there, so that's nice. At the end of the day, towing capacity on this is rated at about 14.5 and up to 17-ish on the gooseneck and fifth wheel, but a true crew cab no less. And I'm gonna take you over by an L5P here in just a second, so stand by. All right, so here's another one. This is a L5P. So really, other than getting the Duramax, which obviously is going to give you a ton more torque, a little more horsepower, payload's going to be cut a little bit because of that, but see, you can still see that the leaf pack's still the same. And that's one thing I can't appreciate versus the Chevy versus the Ford is Fords do sag a little bit. Even if the payload's equal to this bad boy, they do sag a little bit. But in perspective of the truck, a true crew cab, the Ram's not a true crew cab yet unless you get the mega cab. That kind of puts you in that realm, but it's kind of a different animal. So on that 6.6, you're at 401 horsepower, 464 pounds of torque, versus my Godzilla's 430 and 475. The 6.6 gas from GM really is on par to be more with the new 6.8 that's coming out with the 405 and the 445 horsepower. But I can honestly tell you, as I do love Chevys, and I grew up Chevy, and I like my Fords, and I like Rams. I've had them all. But at the end of the day, it comes down to your personal preference. Now again, those towing specs on that gas Chevy are with a regular cab, long bed, two-wheel drive with 17-inch wheels. So when people go in and say, well, I'm gonna pick this truck and it's got 20-inch wheels and all the swag in it, the leather seats, stuff, all that's gonna cut into your payload, all that's gonna cut into your towing. I see guys out there that put these crazy cool aluminum wheels on there. Well, their truck's no longer really valuable for towing. It cuts into everything right there. So but when I drove the 6.6 gas, is it a Godzilla Slayer? No, but I mean, they're different animals. But is it a slug? Absolutely not. That's a good motor. It's a good motor, and You know, they both share a cast iron block and everything like that. And you know, the interiors are nice. I do wish that Chevy would had a little bit better plastic quality in here, because this stuff scratches really easily. Camera quality is really good even on the base model, but you can get an HD camera. But for a custom, I just love the overall setup in here. Although I do prefer bucket seats. Seat contour, no matter what you get material wise, it's going to be the same cushioning, bolstering, everything, no matter what trim level, but these are obviously cloth. But you know, this is a good truck. And you know, when people say, well, I don't know, I'd get the Chevy over this because I like the 6-speed. Well, the 10-speed I just found out is only coming out in the 24, so the refresh body style, it's going to be a mid-cycle refresh of the truck. Overall, it's going to get the new interior. The exterior is going to get a little tweak, and it's going to get the new Allison 10 in the gas. And people are like, well, I don't want a 10-speed. Well, that's what you're going to get. And everybody's like, well, my 6-speed's better. Well, not necessarily, because GM said, well, we could do better, so they're going to slap that wonderful Allison in there. And I think it'll improve fuel economy. It's going to improve torque bands and being able to tow. You know, and so I wouldn't stay away from this, you know, necessarily. I mean, if you're going gas, I mean, you're really, you know, fighting over peanuts. Even if you went with a Ram, that 6.4's got 410 horsepower and 429 pounds of torque. It's made it to an 8-speed. And you know, it's a good truck too. I mean, it just is what it is, what you really like. The one thing I will tell you is the Ram, if you're getting a standard crew cab Ram, the back seat is smaller than both the Ford and the Chevy and the GMC. In addition to that, your bed is only a 6'5" versus the Chevys are 6'10". And the Ford is a 6'10" also. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where I like having more bed ability and stuff like that, so that's nice too. That's one thing that's holding me back on it. One thing that GM didn't improve on yet for this year was when you pull the truck down into drive, the gear selector that's on the actual gear shift, if you will, the buttons, doesn't do anything. You must pull the truck down all the way into manual mode and then limit the gears, but you cannot see what gear the transmission is currently in, and the Ford has that. I like that. The Ram, I don't know if you can do it on the HD trucks, because the HD trucks versus the half-ton Rams, those were a mid-model refresh. So when they refreshed the 1500, people wanted the new interior, so they basically made it work. But one way to definitely tell is the steering wheel buttons and the door switches and everything like that are the same ones they had back in 2011. So you can go back and see those styling cues that they you know, for the most part, people think they got the new interior, and you got most of it, but not all of it. So once they finally get up there, because you can see the half-ton crew is smaller than the 3/4 ton and 1-ton crews. Until you step in the mega cab, we're not talking about the mega cab, because going to a mega cab is completely different than what anything else is out there, but it also really cuts into the payload because of the weight of the cab. So but back to the gear selector thing, that really bothers me. As a truck driver, I want to know what gear my transmission's currently in. I want to see, as I'm towing, what it's doing each one of those gears. I don't want to have to shift and fiddle fart with it if I don't have to. Also, when I'm in drive in the Ford, I can limit the gears, and it highlights in orange that top mounted gear that I'm in, and that way I know this is what I've limited to. You have to go to the manual mode in the Chevy and shift all that stuff yourself, and I just think that that's counterintuitive to what you're trying to get. Engine braking in the 6.6 gas, pretty good with that 6-speed. It'll probably be better with the Allison. And a lot of that's going to be involving you using the cruise control to do that also. As for the exhaust brake in the Duramax, this is where I felt like this still needed to be improved on, is the braking. I mean, you got gigantic brakes up front, and unless you're using cruise control, the exhaust brake is just not as robust as the Ram at all. Ford's is a little bit better on the diesel. But everybody's saying that you got to pull down manual, limit the gears, and then manually shift that. And again, to me, that's counterintuitive. I should just be able to, you know, put the exhaust brake on and and let it slow me down. In the Ram, literally, you let off the throttle, just like in a big semi, and it automatically engages and starts slowing down. But yeah, that's one of those things where, you know, again, you got to use this little toggle switch in manual mode. Not an overall big fan of that, but you know, I do like this truck. I think it's a nice looking truck. I really like a lot of the aspects of it. I do love the Duramax. I think it's a great motor. It'll roach the tires every day of the week in this thing. Fuel economy is not as good as others, but again, we don't get these trucks for fuel economy, but it is nice that they get good fuel economy. So it's just one of those things. And you know, I just took the 6.6 gas out on a loop. I drove my personal truck on the same loop with the Godzilla, and fuel economy is about the same. I think it was like 12.4 on the Godzilla and like 11.6 on the Chevy. So who really cares? That's all subjective. Mine has a little bit more miles on it and stuff like that. So I mean, there's room to improve there, and I think the 10-speed will make a big difference on it. But you know, guys, I mean, I would say this is you know, let's start another discussion here, because again, I do love the overall look of this Chevy. I think it's a very bold and in-your-face look. I think it's a little bit more fun than the GMC. The GMC is very elegant, classic, you know, looking. But when Chevy says we're going to make a truck, they either make the same truck by style for a decade, and then when they change it, they come out something like this. It's like, wow, it's in your face. And I really enjoy that, because I don't like seeing necessarily cookie cutters. My Fords, one guy says very cookie cutter. Well, of course, I mean, why break the mold? If it works, leave it. But you know, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to post this video. We're going to get more content. We're going to do some more towing videos. I really wish I could have been driving when I did that one, but the gasser. But at the end of the day, just is what it is. But you know, I am not dinging Chevy. I think Chevy makes a really great truck. I really enjoy driving the truck. It is nice riding. But yeah, let's field some questions, guys. Please subscribe. Thanks.